All right, we're diving into South Florida today. And let me tell you, it's a real estate market that seems to be playing by its own set of rules. You look at the headlines, and they're telling two completely different stories at the exact same time. So today, we're going to figure out why.
So what is it? Is South Florida a paradise for buyers where you hold all the cards? Or is it this exclusive playground just for millionaires where prices only go up? You know, the craziest part is, the answer is it's both. And by the end of this, you're going to understand exactly how that's even possible.
Let's just jump right into the numbers, because this is where it gets wild. On one hand, you've got huge names like Realtor.com saying Miami is the #1 best buyer's market in the entire country. But then, you look at the data and it shows luxury homes there are nearly triple the national average. How can both of those things be true? Well, to get it, we've got to start with the bigger picture.
You see, to really understand what's happening on the ground in Florida, we first have to look up and see the huge economic forces that are affecting the whole country. Because right now, there's a national tailwind that's starting to blow.
This one number, right here, just changed the entire game, 6.39%. That is the new average 30-year mortgage rate, and it's the lowest it has been in almost a year. For all those buyers who've been sitting on the sidelines, this was the green light they were waiting for.
And the result? Just wow, a massive 29.7% surge in mortgage applications in a single week. We're not talking about a little uptick here. This was like a floodgate opening, unleashing all this pent-up demand that's been building for months.
And if that wasn't enough, you've got the Federal Reserve adding fuel to the fire. They just announced their first interest rate cut of the year. Now, experts are quick to say, look, this isn't going to slash mortgage rates overnight, but the psychological impact, it's huge. The Fed has officially pivoted from hiking rates to cutting them, and that is re-energizing the market and boosting confidence for pretty much everyone.
Okay, so with that national picture in mind, let's zoom right back in on the heart of our story, this strange, fascinating paradox that's happening right now, specifically in the Miami market.
I mean, just look at the scale of this difference. The average luxury home in Miami is going to set you back about $1.13 million. That's not just a little bit higher than the rest of the country, it is nearly 3 times the national average. This is that millionaire's playground idea in action.
But then, you see this number, 9.7 months. That is Miami's housing supply. You know, a healthy, balanced market is somewhere around 6 months of supply. So being at almost 10 months, that is the textbook definition of a buyer's market. So how can prices be so incredibly high when buyers supposedly have all this power?
The answer to this whole puzzle, it's hidden in the unique economic forces that are shaping South Florida, making it unlike pretty much anywhere else in the country.
So here's the breakdown. The paradox exists because South Florida is not one market. It's really 2 markets operating in the same place. First, you have this massive flood of tech and finance money coming in, which means you have cash-rich buyers competing for the high-end properties, and that just pushes those prices way up. At the same time, you've got incredible demand from investors for short-term rentals, which keeps that condo market red hot. But here's the key. All of this creates a segmented market. The global luxury tier, which often deals in cash, is basically playing a different sport on a different planet than the local market, which relies on mortgages and feels every little change in inventory.
And you know, this isn't just a Miami thing. This quote from the mega developer Stephen Ross, it says it all. He believes West Palm Beach could be a model city for the entire country, and it's precisely because of this incredible migration of businesses, of talent, and of capital that's just fueling this really sustainable boom across the whole region.
Okay, so let's widen our lens one more time and see how these big forces are creating really different real estate stories across South Florida's 3 main counties.
And you can really see how this plays out differently across the area. Miami-Dade, that is the home of the luxury paradox we've been talking about. Then you head a little north to Broward, and it's all about the new development boom. I mean, look at the Casamar Tower, a stunning $350 million sellout. And then there's Palm Beach, which has become this corporate magnet, just pulling in high-paying jobs from finance and tech. Each county kind of has its own flavor, but the engine behind it all is growth.
So after all that, the big question is, where is this market going? And maybe more importantly, what does it all mean for you? Let's look at a key stabilizing factor and then get into some really clear, actionable advice.
Okay, this is absolutely huge news for anyone who owns or even wants to own property in Florida. For years, it's been a total crisis, but the state's property insurance market is finally stabilizing. Reforms are actually working, private insurers are coming back, and get this, in Miami-Dade, nearly 75% of people with the state-backed insurer are actually seeing their premiums go down.
This is so critical for the long-term health of the market.
So what's the takeaway here? Let's boil it down. For buyers, you've got leverage. That 9.7 months of inventory, that's your negotiating power. But you might want to be a little patient. An analysis from Realtor.com suggests the absolute best time to find a deal in Florida might be later in the year, maybe around December. And for sellers, the message could not be clearer. Price your home correctly, right from the start. In a market this flooded with options, buyers will just scroll right past anything that's overpriced.
And all of this brings us to one final thought. You know, as South Florida keeps attracting all this global wealth and these corporate giants, totally transforming its economy and its skyline, it leaves us with a really critical question. In a market that's being shaped by such powerful external forces, who ultimately gets to call this dynamic, paradoxical, and constantly changing place home?